Are you concerned that you might be in a toxic relationship? Are you feeling unclear about the difference between healthy relationships and toxic relationships? In this video, I'm going to talk you through 3 subtle signs that are indicators of a toxic relationship. My name is Shelley and I'm a specialist relationship coach, helping people all over the world to create healthy and thriving relationships. Often when someone comes to me for support on a difficult relationship that they found themselves in, they lack clarity about the difference between the kind of challenges that you might face in a healthy relationship and those that are signs of toxicity in a relationship. We'll generally work together to unpick what might be related to buried patterns from earlier years, where there may be attachment wounds or unproductive behavior patterns that they've become stuck in from their past, and how we can differentiate those from the signs that the relationship that they are in is an unhealthy one. There are some signs that are easy to identify. In this particular video, however, I'm going to focus on 3 less obvious signs, all of which can relate to unhealthy ways of relating. One sign of a toxic relationship can be when there's no trust in the relationship. If you and your partner aren't able to trust each other, the first question you need to ask yourself is why. Is this lack of trust something that has been consistent as a pattern for you in relationships? Can you relate this pattern to events that happened in your early years with your primary childhood caregivers? If so, you might want to consider doing some deeper work on the sources of this and what are called attachment wounds. Many therapists and coaches like me will first focus on the underlying causes of patterns in the context of our early relationships in this way. If, however, you have no history of attachment wounds and you're finding it difficult to trust your partner, your instincts or feelings might be giving you some important information. If there are genuine reasons for you not to be able to trust them, or if the trust between the two of you has been broken beyond repair, then it might be that you found yourself in a stuck and toxic place. Another version of trust issues can be in the scenario where your partner isn't able to trust you, and you have never given them any reason not to trust you. In this scenario, it is helpful again to reflect on why they might not be able to trust you. It could be that they have unhealed childhood attachment wounds. It could also be that they themselves are not actually trustworthy. In my experience, you often find that people who lie and cheat are very untrusting themselves, as their assumption is that everyone behaves in this way. It's often a form of justification in their own minds for their own behavior. It's an important one to look out for. A second sign of a toxic relationship is where there's no repair after an argument. It's absolutely normal to argue in relationships. You have 2 individuals with 2 different needs, and sometimes these needs are not in alignment, and sometimes one person's needs will conflict with those of their partner. A healthy relationship is not defined by never having any arguments. What's more important is how you argue. And a big part of arguing in a healthy way is that things are repaired, appropriate amends are made, and the argument is properly closed. In my work as a relationship coach, I often encounter couples who don't know how to close an argument in a healthy way and who don't know how to negotiate to get their needs met. That's okay, because this is something you can, with the right guidance, get better at together, as long as both parties want to improve things. The problem comes when one or both individuals have no interest in seeking repair, closeness, or resolution at the end of an argument, but they're more focused on winning or proving a point. If I work with a couple and either party shows no interest in resolving arguments in a healthy way, that is often an indicator that they are fundamentally toxic, with patterns at play that might not be resolvable. A third subtle sign of toxicity is when there's disregard for the feelings and needs of a partner. When you are in a healthy relationship, partnership with someone, there will be genuine care and interest in both directions. That's for the feelings and the needs of each other. A total lack of care will often manifest in contempt, but sometimes the signs are much more subtle and might be more ambiguous. If someone has poor boundaries, they might be so unaware of the differences between themselves and others that they have challenges understanding that their partner's needs might be different from theirs. This kind of enmeshment can cause real problems in relationships, and it's often related to an anxious attachment style. But sometimes it's something that someone can work on. Equally, someone might be able to actually understand and identify the needs of their partner, but could be worried that if they show signs of being interested in supporting their partner in getting their needs met, their own needs might get overlooked and subsumed. This behavior can often manifest in those with an avoidant attachment style. Again, this kind of behavior can be modified over time with carefully intentioned work. I'm going to be going in a little bit more detail on how these attachment styles can affect the ways in which we relate to each other. But for today, I would like to invite you to reflect on one fundamental question you need to ask yourself in order to know if your relationship is fundamentally toxic. And that question is, do you feel that your partner is interested in your well-being? If they genuinely care, there will be motivation to work on improving ways of relating and communicating. When you are looking out for these subtle signs, the objective isn't to assign blame in any direction. It's about seeking to understand what's going on beneath the surface. In that way, you can make informed and healthy decisions. If there are healthy foundations to the relationship, then you can take accountability for your part in the dynamic and work on your own patterns. If your partner chooses to grow and move with you into an ever healthier space, and if you continue to share values and can prioritize the relationship, then there is a strong chance that these signs of toxicity can be channeled into growth together. If there are subtle signs of toxicity without any desire for change or growth, then you might want to consider asking yourself some important questions about whether, in the long run, this is a healthy place for you to be. The reason I classify these signs as subtle signs is that you need to take more time and care to look into the sources of the behavior and work out where you can take accountability yourself in any of the dynamics. There are, however, other signs that are much more overt indicators of toxicity, and in the case of these signs, the assessment is often much more clear-cut. Whatever situation you're in, whether you're dating or in a long-term relationship, the important thing is that you own your behavior and that your own behavior is always intentional and that you stay self-aware, stay grounded, stay thoughtful, and make sure you're looking after your feelings and your needs. If you're interested in understanding these more overt signs of toxicity, you may want to take a look at my video on the subject. I'll put a link in that video for you now, and you'll find lots of helpful information in the video about clear indicators that you need to take action. I love sharing my tools and tips and guidance with you and supporting you on your journey to thriving relationships. Please remember to subscribe to the channel so we can travel this path together.